Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm trying to think of how to really put this message together. Um, but I know that if the Lord has me in this area, it's for a reason. And I only speak about the things that I believe He has placed in my heart. And if it keeps coming up, that means that there's a demographic, there's a group of people, if not, not everybody will take heed, but perhaps it will reach the heart at least one or two people. The Word of God says whenever a person turns to the Lord or a heart is changed, the angels of the Lord rejoice just over one. And the Bible also speaks about when one out of the 99, one sheep left out of the 99, the Lord went looking for that one sheep. And you know what that also reminds me of? It reminds me of in the scripture that speaks about the blind man who Jesus restored his sight. And the Pharisees and scribes and the officials got really upset with him after questioning him so many times. And he kept answering about the miracle and all that stuff. And then anyway, long story short, they just felt at some point he was being arrogant, which he wasn't. And they kicked him out. They kicked him out of the community. And Jesus went looking for him. And I thought that was amazing. So I think even if one person is turned by this message, then it's a good thing. So welcome to my channel, guys. As I said before, I hope I did. Those of you that's listening, I give practical and I also speak about the Lord on this channel. So just know that. Okay, you're free to receive all of it. If you want to pick out what you want and shelve what you want, that's fine. But just know that's what you're going to get here. So we're going to talk about, I believe, what the Lord has me on is speaking to women and ministering to women today and talking about dealing with the hurt and the pain that may be in some of you all's heart. I did a video not too long ago and it was talking about when a bitter woman is in power. It is a horrible thing. Yes, it can be terrible having a man who has hate and bitterness and anger. Lots of time they become dictators and a lot of them become like tyrannical individuals. And we've read enough history books and heard about people who have done the unthinkable because men that did unthinkable wickedness beyond human comprehension because of their terrible beginnings. We read a lot about, if you study a lot of serial killers and these people who commit heinous crimes, you will see that there was a dark and sometimes abusive past. While others, they had a great background, great upbringing, but something entered in at some point. So yes, I can talk about men, and on this channel I have, but today we talk about y'all. We talk about the ladies. And being a woman myself, I bring this message from a place of love, concern, but love is not always hearing what you want to hear. And there's a demographic of women who are hurting and who has allowed that hurt and pain, rejection to fossilize in their hearts. That hurt and that pain, it's created it's like sedimentary rock. And that's just layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and years and years and years and years of hurt and pain that just built up. And it's hard to get through to you. But what will happen is all that hurt and pain and all those bricks that you build up to protect yourself, you trap yourself. You don't know how to get out of that. And so we're going to talk about some things. I spoke about feminists and feminism and the movement. And I would tell you as a woman, sometimes when I sit back and I listen to feminists speaking in certain open forums or when they're questioned or asked some things, their reactions is just downright embarrassing. And really goes back to what is said about us as women, that we're emotional, we have no control, we can't sit in the seat and just speak directly about what we need to speak and to say without getting emotional and getting ugly. And those aren't the only scenarios where that happens. It could be someone you know, a family member, never wrong. They're always right. You can't speak to them. You can't tell them anything about themselves. You may have a friend like that. A friend who's hypersensitive and super offended about everything. So much that you know as a friend, it's better not to talk about certain things. Don't tell them the truth. Don't say anything. Just let them be right if I want this friendship to go, if I want to keep this friendship. Some of you know that you can't celebrate accomplishments because you have a friend who gets jealous or who gets quiet and withdrawn when you accomplish some things. So you have learned over the years to temper yourself to make them feel good. Even in your most greatest times, you should be enjoying yourself. You're apologetic for being capable. You're apologetic for having someone who loves you. You're apologetic and you want to shrink away from the love and the attention of your spouse and your husband because, I don't know, you want your friend who comes in your life and is like a wet blanket, the human fire extinguisher, okay, that comes, just prepared to put out any bit of happiness in your life so they can take on a form of water and then turn to foam. Any little kind of fire you have, they're prepared to put it out. And this type of individual is a woman who has experienced something in her life that she has not dealt with. She has refused to deal with it, or now she cradles it. It is like carrying something that is dead and giving it life. Something that needs to be let go of because now it's formed gangrene, necrophilia, all those things, all the things that is breaking down. Little bacteria and things are trying to break down this thing. But you want to keep it alive. It's still alive. You're still giving life to something. That offense, that hurts, that hurt, that needs to be released. Releasing hurt and pain does not make it any less valid. It does not mean it did not happen. It does not mean that it's being undermined. It does not. But it's to save you. Because what happens when you are this kind of woman, you go through your life being bitter. I believe this. Let's go to feminism, the feminist movement. Now, I would tell you, I believe perhaps it was started with good intentions. That's just me, because there were a lot of things going on back then. Now, people can study it a little deeper and find out more things about it. Now, as I said, when I was in school, I was taking classes. I got to get a little more information about feminism, the feminist movement, and I was shocked and surprised. I always thought, just as a lay person, just thinking, okay, feminism is about equal rights for women because they weren't allowed to vote and they weren't being paid properly and all this stuff. But as you realize, there's another side to feminism, which is about changing the family dynamics. And it's really, to me, about changing the roles in families and all that good stuff. And it's to undermine men, in my opinion. No, I don't believe that anyone should be lording over anyone. I don't think only the woman can cook. That's not what I think. You must understand. I've served in the military for over 23 years of service. I served my country. I worked side by side with my male counterparts. There are times I did experience different things, okay? But I never felt like I want to undermine them, okay? Undermine my male counterparts. Did I have to make corrections at times? Did I have to check somebody at times about the way they're approaching me and the way they're doing things? And not because I was hypersensitive, but after watching the situation for a while and trying to deal with it in a certain way, the person kept doing whatever. So I sat down with this person and I told them, This is what I see. This is not okay. And we were able to, have a row or whatever and talk about it, but all was well. But I did not take that feeling like now I need to condemn all men. Okay? But if you're not a person that you don't have things, you're not dealing with things in your heart, and you have bitterness and hurt and pain, you're going to take every offense and you're going to run with it. And what I see a lot of, as I said, I feel I've gone ahead of myself. Feminine movement might have had a good cause in the beginning, as I said, because I have experienced some things myself. But I think it took a turn somewhere. And so what happens is you can't put your own past experiences and bitterness and anger and resentment. I mean, okay, you can be driven by the things that you experienced and you want to help others. But when you have resentment and anger paired with a cause, it's going to go south. And I see a lot of women, I'm not saying all feminists are like this, but there's a lot of them that I see that they behave in a way that's very, it's like they have this rage and they're just so angry. And when you sit them down and the males begin to talk to them and ask them certain things, not attacking them, because it's not always, that's not always the case, but asking them questions about certain things, reasonable, rational questions, they become snarky, they become nasty, they begin to talk over the man, they begin to do all these things, which I'm like, you are acting like a girl right now. You're doing exactly the thing why they feel like, oh, don't put a woman in the White House, don't put a woman in government, because she is going to have a meltdown just like this. She can't handle the pressure of one man talking to her. How in the world is she going to be able to handle the pressures of the nation? We got to talk real about this stuff. I see it all too often. And I see it enough to believe this is one of the main problems with women on the whole. Whether you're dealing with someone in your life, someone in your family, someone on the block, someone in your community. If I've traveled to so many different countries and places and lived in different places in the world, and I see the same kind of behavior. I worked with different women being in the military. And I can tell you, in all my 20-something years being in the military, I've only can think of 2 women through my whole military career who were exceptional, who were fair, who were impartial. And the rest of them was just arrogant, prideful, emotional, carried on, keep stuff going, goosenecking, doing different things, jealous, messy, and abuse their power. And so where does this behavior come from? Hurt and pain. Hurt and pain. There's a lot of women who have been rejected, who were abused, who were abandoned, who were neglected, who are still mad about the boy that didn't show up for prom. They're still upset about how they were treated by their mothers, and they go through their life and they get an education and they work out and build up and put some hair on in some cases and do this and put on the bad business suit and get more degrees than a thermometer. But inside, they're still broken. And it shows up when they're at the job. It shows up when they're having a relationship, It shows up in a place where they cannot take any sort of constructive criticism. They cannot take anyone having a difference of opinion. They cannot stand if you don't believe what they say. Like, I don't agree with you. And you have to be in a place where you have to realize everybody is not going to agree with you. People will only agree with you in fairy tales. And let's be real, even in fairy tales, there's always a big bad wolf. In the fairy tales, you got the wicked stepmama. In a fairy tale, you got, who else? I can't think of anybody right now. You got a Rumpelstiltskin. So not even in a fairy tale is everything perfect. But you have these individuals that live their life just so offended constantly. and you put a cause in their hand and say, I'm a feminist, I'm here for rights, but you find there's another situation going on in the heart. It's not about just rights and trying to do things better and trying to bring women on a better platform and to give them more inclusiveness. You will find, or more inclusivity, you will realize they are powered by their hurt and their pain. And I want to tell you, when you're that type of person, you make that whole organization look bad, because when you guys get up in front, y'all are just rude, y'all just snarling, y'all say stuff, y'all just attack men and attack women too. Wait a minute, as I said in another video, I thought this was a voice for all women. Oh, if we don't agree, it's not a voice for us. Oh, just people that agree with you. Okay, I got it. So what drives this behavior? Why is it that I see so many women, if we're talking about the feminists right now, they always look like, they look so bitter. They look so mean. And if you don't agree with them, they can be calm at first. They'll sit there with the frigid disposition, but then they start to, if they'll be talking about some things, but then if you start peeling back the layers of some stuff and there are some counter arguments that you may have, or someone doesn't agree and they begin to speak statistics, they get emotional. First, they'll try to keep their cool, and then you'll see there'll be all these micro expressions on their faces. The lips are doing things, the eyes pop open, they get a smirk, they do that type of thing, laugh, and they start going back and forth. And what they start to do is almost they start to taunt the person and get nasty, or they'll stay stuck in whatever they're saying and ignore whatever valid arguments the person may be saying and asking them, and they become defensive. Where does that come from? The little scarred girl inside. The hurt person that begins to see whether it's a male or a female, because it's not only a male that may be asking them things and not agreeing. They begin to see that male or female in the same way they saw perhaps the person that used to belittle them and berate them and ridicule them and taunt them. So they think questioning is taunting. You're ridiculing me. You're trying to make me look bad. So let's say they have an argument about a certain topic, and then as they're speaking with that other male or female that may not agree with them, and then they can't answer a question, or whatever they're saying does not hold foundation, and the person says something back to them that really proves what they're saying is wrong or does not make sense, their statistics, what they're saying is not accurate, then they go into another mode where they begin to get nasty. They block. It's stonewall. We're not going to deal with the fact of what you just said being accurate. We're going to stonewall it. We're going to make it about you trying to be a certain way. They try to taunt you, and it's a way of trying to pull that person out of position. But then they may meet a person who's very calm, who's very focused on the matter at hand, and you just see this person spinning and just acting up. And I personally am tired of seeing women making the rest of us look bad. You're going up there, you're emotional, your eyes get bugged out, you get a smirk on your face, you get that nasty look. You start to make smart remarks, you start to insult the person. And what does that say about women? What does that say for the rest of us? What's the message? No self-control. You have no control over yourself. You cannot have a conversation. You're emotional. This is where people come on, oh, you must be in that window for that monthly. No, that's not a nice thing to say. But that's how a lot of these women behave. If you don't agree with something, you can say, I still don't agree. That's okay. But to get nasty about it, and if someone is trying to taunt you, listen, this is where I end the conversation. That's okay to say that. But I see a lot of the taunting, and this is where, to me, that little broken, that's the broken part of that individual. This, you're broken when you have to go to those, you have to take those measures, because the hurt and the pain within these individuals will be triggered by simply someone, I don't agree. They see that as rejection. Nope, I'm not buying your argument. They see that as ridicule, or someone is able to prove them wrong. They see it as ridicule rather than it is true. This person has done their research. What you've done, what you have presented is wrong. It's not accurate. Your argument is has been tumbled. Okay? And so that is ridicule. This person's trying to make me look bad. Why? Because from their childhood or whatever point in their life, they immediately begin to go back in their mind and think of the shame that they felt in school, the rejection they felt at home, when anything they said was always questioned and thought to be not important. And so, ladies, if this behavior, and if you don't deal with your hurt and your pain in your heart, you're going to approach so many situations in life through the looking through you'll be seeing things in a very pixeled and distorted way that is incited simply by and spurred on by your sense of what is it? Sometimes women look confident on the outside, but on the inside, they don't think much of themselves. They'll go home from that debate or whatever we watched, and they will go over that whole conversation by themselves out loud, having a soliloquy at home. What they should have said, I should have said this, I should have said that. Rather than thinking, why are you behaving this way? If you don't deal with hurt and pain and bitterness, if you have not forgiven certain people, and you walking through your life with all these dead bones inside of you on the past and all of that, it does not matter how many degrees you have. It does not matter how well dressed you are. It does not matter how nice of a car and how nice of a neighborhood you live in, the gated community, and who you married and how you made it to the top and where you are. You're still broken because you're jacking people up. And there's no way that behavior is not going to show. The way you know that you have to deal with the issues that's within your heart is because your nastiness spills out at work. Your nastiness spills out in the office and in the boardroom and in the church and in the community in your house. You learn to be deceptive and manipulating. You learn how to turn the tables all the time. You become so skilled in turning the narrative that you are no one is in competition with you. If you don't deal with jealousy, if you don't deal with those things, you'll be that bad friend where you know how to just rain on someone else's parade. You'll be the wet blanket in the room. You'll be hurt. You're mad because your friend has accomplished some things. You're jealous because they got approved for a home. You can't be happy. Isn't that a horrible thing that you just can't be happy and you just feel that nasty heaviness in you all the time, that bitterness that's always in the back of your throat and in your stomach, and you just hate them for that, but you conceal it? It's even worse when you conceal it. And so because you're so filled with bitterness, it spills out. You have to say something to undermine it or make those little comments that they really can't call you out on it, because you've learned the art of neutralizing people. You learn how to do that. Do you think it's good that you've learned how to be a skilled liar? You know how to talk your way out of things. You'll become the Merlin, the magician, the Houdini of deception and manipulation. And yet you have to still pretend to be happy. And if you're not happy on the inside and on the core, you're going to mess things up. You go through life hurting people. A man trying to date you, that's going to be hard. Being married to you, that's going to be a nightmare. Because you live in offense. Everything means something. Any little thing he says, it must be discussed. if you're in the church community, you can create disputes. You can create cliques. You can cause people, depending on your position, to turn on one another. You can never be corrected about anything. You are always right. You'll even argue with God if you could. And suddenly God is telling you everything you want to hear. That ain't God telling you what you want to hear. I'm going to end this video by saying this. There's always hope. Every day you wake up, it's a new beginning and a new chance. You have to deal with the hurt and pain inside of you. You have to go through and open that box within yourself that you don't want to get healing, to get counseling, to learn how to let go of things, to pray, to seek God, for him to really show you. Because when you harbor and you keep hurt and pain and bitterness and rejection and the things that people have dumped on you throughout your life, and through, you felt like you need to protect yourself, and maybe you felt like you need to recreate yourself, and you found more power in being mean and telling people off and letting them know, well, that may work, but you have to realize everybody is not your abuser. Everybody, we're not the ones that set you up or bullied you in school. We're not that. So if you allow those bad seeds of your bully and those who hurt you in the past, all those seeds that they plant in you, now you have now cultivated a whole forest within yourself, and you are carrying every trait that they displaced on you. So you become the bully because you were bullied. You become the antagonizer because you were antagonized. You become the liar because you were lied on or lied to. You learn how to be manipulated because you were around manipulators. You begin to reject people and do things and hurt them and be indifferent because that's what happened to you. Because you have all the stuff in you that you have not let go of or allowed God to help you through the process of healing and being whole. And I don't know about you, it would be hard to try to drink out of a glass that's all chipped and jagged around the rims. If it has cracks in it, if I try to pour in something to drink, it's going to come out. There may be a little bit, I got to hurry up and drink it, and hopefully I don't split my lips off trying to drink off the jagged edges. It's hard to handle such a thing. If you have a glass on the floor, you can't just grab it and pick it up. You've got to take your time and use your hands and be gentle. And honestly, as beautiful as many of you guys look, you're nothing but heaps of shard glass. Dressed up, looking successful, looking accomplished. But at the end of it all, what is it? You are still hypersensitive. You've got to get free from that. Because when you get free from that and maybe even see yourself and see how long you've allowed this to be, and cry and be angry, but in crying and be angry, now being open to heal, then all that bitterness in you will slowly ebb out. So the next time you sit before someone and they're talking to you about something, you won't be hearing the voice of those who've hurt you. You won't be seeing it and feeling in your heart that, oh, this person is trying to embarrass me, because you're having a mental PTSD and thinking about how your dad used to talk to you, how your mother used to talk to you, how your brothers used to talk to you, how this person spoke to you, how your classmates did you, how your professor did you. You'll be able to see who's in front of you, and you'll have control. You'll be able to hear what they have to say. You'll be able to realize that if they don't agree with you, it's nothing personal. You don't have to think about, let me find their address and their phone number and who they are, because I'm going to destroy them. If you're doing that, you are still heaps of just broken glass. And you know, if you break up a bunch of glass, break up just shards of glass, and it's in a pile or in a heap, and you put it in the sun, it looks beautiful. It looks good. But you get close to it, it's no use. You can't use it. But could it be repurposed? Yes. Thanks to recycling. But a lot of women are walking around, you don't want to be repurposed. This is who I am. You just got to sweep me up and carry me in a bag. You want people to just take you as you are. Splintered, broken glass. With degrees, with property, with positions and power. In a movement. Feminism by itself, it's not an issue. It's the people. The people, the individuals that change it from what it probably was meant to be to now a bunch of broken women who are hurt and angry, and they brought their divorce issues, and they're thinking about Tom and Michael, what they did, and they're thinking about who said what and who disagreed with them and what their mom did and what happened in high school and what happened in college and what happened last week, and they come and they bring all of that energy and cannot think straight.
Just to be clear, I'm not saying feminists in general or every last one, but there are many of them who are driven by their past hurts.
Or now it's me against the world. Well, I tell you what, lady, the world's not against you because you're not that significant for the world to hate you. There's only one person that was significant enough for that, and that was Jesus Christ. And as we see, the world still hates him because even his name alone offends many. And those who follow him, it's going to be a problem. But you're not that important. And that's the thing about hurt and pain, is that it makes you think everything is always about you when it's not. Everybody will not always agree with you. We're not living in a bubble. We're not living in a controlled environment. We're not playing dollhouse. People have a right to disagree with you, to disagree with me. Whoever disagrees with this video, they might. But I'm not going to take it personally. But it's about, how do you speak to me? What are you saying to me? And what I do, I just ignore. That's why I have settings on my videos. A lot of things I'm not going to get it. If it has a language and all that stuff, there are filters that filters all that out. But I can understand if you don't agree with certain things. I can understand you have a different view. I can read your view. You don't believe that. That's fine. I'm not going to search you out and figure out who you are. And now I need to get you back. And now I'm losing sleep. And now I'm going to take it out on somebody tomorrow because of what you did today. You see? Get the healing you need. Once you get healed, you'll be your best self. Once you get healed, you'll be able to see things much clearer. Your relationship will be different. The way you deal with friendships and their success will be different. You won't be a person where everybody feels like they're walking on eggshells around you. They have to say what you want to say. You may have a team of people that works with you, but they never tell you the truth because you're not that type to be able to take any sort of constructive criticism. So they're always telling you yes. So you live in this world where you hear whatever you want to hear. Your husband may just agree with you. Your siblings may just agree with you because they know you're nasty. They know how you get. So they don't want to be bothered. So you live in this world that's not reality because people know, don't say anything to her because it's going to go to the next level. Just tell her what she wants to hear. So you live in a lie, a world where you have created deception for yourself to make yourself feel better so you don't have to face yourself. But in the meantime, you're trying to save other people. You can't. How can you save me? You can't pull me into your raft and you got holes in your raft. You can't pull me into your raft to save me until I upset you and you push me back in the ocean. That's what happens when there's bitterness. It's conditional. Everything you do in your life is conditional. There are conditions to my marriage. There's conditions to my friendships. There are conditions to me helping you. And so people learn to take heed to your conditions and say nothing. And others who are not willing to live that lie, they just drop off and disappear out of your life. But your one song croonies will tell you, oh, they're just jealous. They're just jealous. They just hate you because you're so great. No, it's not true. So let's learn together as women, men alike. We're not here to do away with men. We all serve purpose. We're not here to be over the top Thundercats. We're not doing that. We all serve purpose, just as our ecosystem serves a purpose. You get rid of all the bees, we're going to have problems. If you think you're going to get rid of all the men and put them down and say things and think there's not going to be a problem, in the same way, men, in certain regions of the world, there are men who they have, because of their country, they would get rid of female children. They didn't want female babies. They didn't want all males. So in parts of these countries, these continents, they got rid of, they would abort so many baby girls or kill them when they're born, that now they just got a bunch of men and hardly any women. Do you see how it affects things? So whether you're in politics, church, home, community, look at the way you do things in your home. Look at the way you treat in your families. Can they really talk to you? Can your husband talk to you? Can your children talk to you? Look at your relationship at work. Look at yourself. Look at how you are with your friends. And ask God to really show you the truth of what's within. And He will show you, and He will heal you. He'll give you beauty for ashes. He'll give you a crown of royal diadem. He'll give you a garment of praise for the heaviness that you've been carrying. Because some of you, you're pretty, but that anger stains your face. Got this hardened look on your face. You feel like you always got to walk around in man shoes, being tough, being hard. We can be tough and hard at times. When I served in the military, there were times I had to be strict, and there are times I had to be very hard, but it was so rare, it would shock people. I maintained my military bearing. But I treated people the way they need to be treated. I just knew how to treat people right while keeping my military bearings, and they did not cross me. But then there were those who did try it. And they saw the light. And they saw the light. But it was rare. And you know what? Those same people will come back to me and they'll apologize, and we'll talk about it, and we'll go to lunch, and it's all good. I'm not holding on to how they tried me. Because one of the things that I've learned through the grace of God and His teachings is to always look at people and see their side and understand that certain things they may have done for a reason, but while doing that, realizing how to keep that balance and not allowing someone to be able to take advantage of me. But that does not mean that I have to become the avenger and destroy them. People can have a bad day. I should be able to think about, you know what? I know that this is normally a good worker. This person's not having a good day. This is what happened. But understanding I made the right decision, I made the right call, this is what I did, and if they needed me, I'm still going to be there, being fair and impartial. I cannot now get mad, and if they bring in their leave to me, their leave request, I'm going to be vindictive. Not every woman will appreciate this. But if there's just one who hears me and it gets through to you, then I'm happy. You seek God and you ask Him to help you. You pray and you go and you get the counseling that you need, and you get better, and you learn to have more self-awareness of the things that you do, and why. Does not mean now you allow people to run over you. You got to be Miss Super Sweetie Pie and people just taking you for granted and you're supposed to keep quiet. That's not what I'm saying. There are times you got to tell people, no, this is not okay. And that does not make you a bad person, but it will be balanced. And that would be the beauty of it all. All right, guys. Bye.